Today's topic is habits. If you did not know, I am your host, Julie Renee, and today's episode is the one that you're not going to want to miss. We are reassembling our lives one step at a time in order to organize not only our lives, but our lifestyle. And we do this for long-term results. So whether you're stuck in a loop of procrastination, if you're struggling with consistency, or just tired of starting over every day, this episode is packed with tools that will help you create habits that last. The habit loop. Yes, our habits are looped. And how do we rewire this? If we're just habitual creatures and we're on autopilot, how do we change this? Right? So habits don't die. We can't erase habits. We have to replace them. Isn't that insane to think about? Okay, so that's why it's easy for us to relapse. So this is good news, right? Awareness of habits is good news. So just because we can't get rid of them completely, we can replace them. That's why you see those, and I apologize, I'm not trying to do any triggers, but those who used to struggle with smoking, they replace it with gum, right? Or they replace it with a patch, or they drink water. They try to do something that's healthier than the bad habit. So this is why you'll see things like that. And we need to understand where our habits come from. So the habit loop includes the three parts: the cue, which is the trigger, the routine, which is the action, and then the reward. There's always a benefit that our brain gets. That's why it becomes a habit and we get that dopamine hit. If we don't give our brain a better routine or an equally satisfying reward, it's just going to go back to what it knows, right? The rat is trying to get the pellet. It knows where the pellet's at. It's going to keep going there and get to the pellet as quickly as it can. If the pellet moves or the pellet changes, that's when the mouse has to, or the rat has to rewire how it gets there, right? Or even a better example that's more pertained to us. If our stress is our cue and scrolling TikTok is our routine, then if we replace that scroll with 5 deep breaths or a quick walk outside instead, our reward will be calmness and mental reset, which is better than that dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit with viral TikTok videos. Our brains are going to repeat any shortcut, guys. Our brains want to conserve as much energy as possible, which is why it's imperative to also get sleep and to eat right. And we talk about that in future episodes. I'm so excited. Stay tuned for that. It all helps our brain, right? And then we get into that more into another episode, okay? But just for right now, our brains love energy. All right, so our bad habits are ingrained into our daily lives. And they go, like I said, on autopilot if we're not aware of them. So we have to start being aware of them. Awareness is always the first step. And then if you start to notice, you're like, whoa, I didn't know I did that. I didn't know I said that. I didn't know this was going on in my life. I didn't realize that when I was doing this, this was the repercussion. So awareness is the first step to organizing our habits. And we can train it, right? We're replacing the bad habits with good habits. And we do it a little bit at a time. We have to make them small and steady. And we have to make it so easy not to ignore the issues. We have to make the big, bad, negative habits that we have in our lives that we don't want so almost intrusive and ugly, right? Where we're like, oh, I hate this so much. I want to save more time here. I want to save more energy here. I want to save more money here, whatever it is in your life that you want to change. And we most likely have more than just one bad habit, right? But let's make it so intrusive in our lives where we have to take care of it. It's like a big giant elephant in the room. Once you're aware of it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so big and I hate it so much. I didn't sound Valley Girl right there, but I did. So habits, if you guys can like think about it, and it makes so much sense, they're tied to our environments. Our phone on the desk equals a distraction, or a gym bag by the door equals a prompt, right? So if you change your space, if you change your mindset, you guys will start to see the direction that we're going when it comes to organizing. We do this with visual triggers. So laying out your gym clothes, keeping a water bottle at your desk. If we make these small changes, they're easy to shift. And we start doing it naturally. Making the good habits impossible to ignore, make them very obvious. And so I want to do a separate episode when it comes to littles, because it's much more difficult to have visual reminders. For me, I'm very visual. I have an in and out desk. And so for me, now that my children are older, I can actually use it. And so what happens is when I come home, I put things on that table purposefully to tackle it. Right. And it's big enough where I can actually keep part of it where like, hey, get to do this here today. And another part of get to it when you can. Like I have it organized where it makes sense to my brain. And I have it, but it's pretty much like my bag, my keys, my shoes, everything that I need to go out is going out. And everything coming in is coming in. So it's less energy, less time, less thinking. It's a great habit that I've created for myself, a habitual environment. Right? So, but I couldn't do that when my son was a toddler, right? And he's getting into everything. I had to have everything up. And I forgot so many things because I didn't have them out to remind me. But I learned how to do that. So I want to share that with you, but that's a whole nother episode. And it's not going to be for everybody, especially if you don't have littles. But today's episode is going to be more for you. And we have to celebrate. When we change a habit, we have to give our brain that dopamine high five, right? We have to have the little changes that work reward us. When you guys quit smoking, reward your body with, hey, we didn't smoke today. We didn't smoke for a whole hour. Whatever the case may be. I feel like that's such a hard one to say out loud. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to trigger anybody. But replacing that small habit. I didn't do TikTok today. Yay, let's do that. So the cues for us are going to be, they can be sensory, they can be subtle, because you have to remember our bad habits are cued by subtle emotions, by certain images, right? And so we have to remove certain objects out of our lives if we don't want to repeat the same patterns and replace it with something else that's healthier for us. So start being aware of what is the biggest habit you have. Like do the one that's the most detrimental to your health, to your family. Let's work on that one first. And then once you got that down, let's work on the next one, and so on and so forth. So that makes it that much easier. It's like a snowball effect. Be goofy about it. Laugh about it. Make a game out of it. But make it a big deal. Our brains are on autopilot. So let's change the course and direction. Okay? Does this make sense? Does anybody, like, I want to hear from you guys. Like, drop me comments below on what's going on in your lives and what habits you want to start working on. Okay. And so what we could also do, which is very helpful, is adding, if we want to add good habits, let's say, okay, we replaced the bad habits with good habits. Awesome. But there's other habits that I want to add to my life, but they're just taking time to get there. Exercising or whatever it is. So, for example, after we pour our cup of coffee, we write 3 things that we're grateful for. Right? We just kind of, so every morning now that I get coffee, let's write down 3 things that we're thankful for, because I want to be more grateful in my life. So making a habit of when to do that. And that's just an example. It could be something else. Whatever that you want to add into your life that's going to be helpful. We want to do that. And then let's track it. There are so many apps. There's simple pieces of paper, or just honestly, if you're not even paying attention to the goodness in your life, or as you're moving into your life, people will start to compliment you without you even trying it. Like, hey, I've noticed that you stopped doing that. Like, awesome. Hey, I noticed that you're more present with me. Thank you so much. Like, whatever it may be, it could be very a subtle change that you don't even realize you're doing. And it's a domino effect, right? Like we talked about earlier, the snowball, where once you change one big negative habit into a good one, or you start adding more positive habits into your routine and lifestyle, you will naturally start doing other things in that direction because we have our identity set. We are processing thoughts correctly. We are healing wherever we need healing from. So as we work on our habits, it will start to naturally flow. Because if you identify as somebody who doesn't scroll on their phone, who is present with their kids at the park, which I'm sorry, as a parent, you need to be present, even if you're not physically able to or you don't play with them on the playground. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that a park is a public place and you should not be on your phone. That's all I'm saying. Let that sink in. So these little things, if you're like, no, I'm a present parent, so when I'm with my child, I'm not on my phone. So you start making that into a habit. It might take a while. Again, it's going to take a while, especially if you're really addicted to your phone, but putting it down more or putting it in another room, put it in your pocket. Don't make it easy for yourself to go back to a bad habit. Make it difficult for yourself. Make it hard for yourself. Make it painful. Your brain is going to be like, okay, this is too painful. I don't like this. Why are we doing this? There's no reward in this for me, so stop doing it. That's what we want to do. That is how we rewire our brain and reassemble our lives. Isn't that cool? Oh my goodness, I love it. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys are going to be doing. I want to hear your results. If you guys need help into like very specific things for your life, let me know. I can help you with the coaching. I'm here for you guys. I'm in your corner. We cannot do it all at once. We will burn ourselves out. We will get overwhelmed. A good example of this is I struggled with, for a while, getting up really early. I really wanted that for myself. And I'm listening to all these motivational speakers, and they're like, you have to get up early. You have to get up at 4 or 5 a.m. You have to work out first thing in the morning. You have to do this. You have to do this. Because that's what they do. And that's what works for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so I try to do that. I tried going to bed around midnight to jumping all the way to 9 p.m. so I could wake up at 5. I just had a huge jump. I'm like a cold turkey kind of person, right? So I was like, I can do this. And so I didn't. I couldn't. And I was in bed at 9 with no phone at 9, but I tossed and I turned and I couldn't sleep. I had to get up and do like a workout at night. I'm like, well, now I'm gonna be too tired to work out in the morning. And then I would go through this guilt hamster wheel in the morning. Oh, now I'm getting up later, but I have to sleep. And I try to stay up, and then I would get up. And then after an hour, I would be so exhausted that I would have to go back to sleep. Otherwise, I'd just be cranky for the rest of the day. And it was I did this for months, and I tried different things, and I kept getting different results. And then I wasn't doing it with my cycle. I wasn't listening to when my body needed more rest and when it didn't. And I was just all over the place. And I was just putting more pressure on myself to do the same routine as a single mother who is still in her prime with her cycle. I was trying to do the same routine as a married 40 or 50-year-old man. I hope you guys caught that. Once I figured out I am not a man and I am not married and I have to take care of these kids and I have hormones that are a little bit different than a man, and all of that is good. All of that is okay. So waking up at 5 a.m. for them every single day makes sense. And kudos. Awesome. I didn't have that kind of, I want to say luxury. I didn't have that kind of opportunity. It wasn't what was right for me in my life. So I had to find a routine that worked for me. And I had to be okay with it being different every single day, week by week. And once I started tapping into my hormones, once I started tapping into what I needed, what my kids needed, what was going on in the business, what was going on in my life, all of a sudden I had more rest. I was sleeping better. I was waking up without an alarm. I have not used an alarm in I don't even know how long. I don't use an alarm to get up in the morning because I'm sleeping properly and I'm sleeping when I need to sleep. And some nights it's longer and some nights it's shorter. But I'm very aware of where I'm at with what I need. So I encourage you guys to not compare yourself to anybody else, but where you need to be. I hope that is encouraging and I hope you guys hear my love in that. And I still admire these men and I absolutely think they're awesome. And if I was a man, that I think I would be putting more pressure on myself to do that. If that makes sense, right? I had to figure out what works and what didn't for me in my circumstance. So it goes all the way back to identity. I was not identifying myself properly when I was listening to their encouragement. And so identifying who I am and what I needed helped me change what my habits needed to be for myself. So think about, who do you want to become? And then act like that person. You step into those shoes. Every day we should be a better version of ourselves than the day before. So if you want to be a runner, lace up and go outside, even if it's for 5 minutes, just to get started. Because how do you expect to even be a runner if you're not even trying, right? And then maybe the next day you go for another 5 minutes. And then the day after that, you're able to go 7 or 10 minutes. Just go every single time that you're like, okay, I'm going to run, right? If you want to be organized, start with one drawer. Start with one section. I always don't do the whole closet in one day, especially if you hate organizing, and 2, you just don't want to, but you need to. Start small. Do small things. Go underneath the bed. Just do that. Okay, that's a good example. A lot of people put things underneath their bed, especially if your bed's raised, obviously. Or some people don't have drawers underneath their bed. And that's okay. So, as an example, one day, just take everything out from underneath your bed and put it aside in a pile, out of the way where you're not going to trip over it. And again, if you have kids, be mindful of this, but just take that out. And then if you can, also on that day, clean, use a broom, sweep up underneath there. And that be one day. Do you see? It's a progress. And then every day, just go look at that pile and take care of one item. Just pick up one item, whatever looks the shiniest to you, do an alphabetical order, do whatever's closest to you. You know what I'm saying? Just pick something and decide, does this need to be in the trash? Does this need to be donated? Or is this something I'm going to keep? If it's trash, put it in the trash right away and then move on to the next thing. Go make dinner, go for a walk, whatever it is that's next. Don't go back to the pile unless you want to. Okay? If you're going to donate it, make sure I'm always about having a box or a bag or whatever it is, some area that I'm constantly putting donations aside. And as soon as I have it in those, I do it in those Trader Joe bags, right? And so as soon as one is full, then I put it in my car and I try to go donate it within that week. That makes sense to my route. That's how I do it because that's what works best for me. And then I get another bag out and then I just do it over again. So however you want to do it, that works best for you and your lifestyle. And then if you go to that pile and you want to keep the item, then you need to have a home for the item. Is this going to go back underneath the bed? If so, how is that going to work? Am I going to put bins underneath the bed? Am I going to put drawers? Am I have it organized so I can just easily put it in and out? Or I'm going to make it junky again and I'm just going to put stuff underneath the bed. It's your item, it's your bed. It's up to you. I'm not here to judge. You know what I'm saying? Do what's best for you in your circumstance. If you're like, I want to put the junk underneath my bed again, okay, just know that you're going to have to do it all over again at some point, right? So just keep that in mind. So those are just some awesome examples. If you want to be more mindful, take breaths intentionally throughout the day. Just breathe. That alone is going to make you more present, more aware of what's going on. Motivation is overrated, guys. We should not be motivated. We need systems. If you read the James Clear's quote, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So if you don't have systems in place to reach your goals, you're never going to reach your goals. You might get close to it one day, right? Or one day or 2 or 3 days you spend effort towards it. But if you don't create a habit, if you don't create a system for this, then it's all going to fall apart. And then you're going to go into that guilt cycle. And I am not about the guilt cycle. I love you all too much to let you guys go into that cycle. So no more. No more guilting yourself. Create systems, and it's okay. It's okay if you still need an alarm. It's okay if you don't wake up at that time. Just start making the small efforts. Don't go overboard. Your identity is going to build stronger habits. Your new identity will build stronger habits. You will get closer and closer to that person that you want to become every day, because you have a direction. You have a North Star. You have your identity figured out. You went and took the identity assessment, right? Did you all take it yet? It's free. You don't even have to give me your email. That's how much I want you guys to have it. It's really good. It's a really good assessment. I spent a lot of time on it. I want you guys to use it. It's really good too. It's going to be very helpful. All right, so I'm going to give you guys an example, and then I'm going to let you go. I started listening to Tony Robbins, and I'm reading my notes here because I want to make sure I tell you guys what happened. And he's all about breaking patterns. Your brain pathways are essential for wiring your systems. They're comprised of interconnected neurons that transmit signals throughout the nervous system. Y'all, I'm still reading my notes, and I am butchering the words. I apologize. Okay. So all these neurons are in charge of creating your habits in your brain. That's what I'm trying to say. And so they're crucial for everything that we do, from basic reflexes to complex cognitive processing, right? So if our default habit is to do one thing, then our brains will continue to make that pathway. Hey, we know how to get to the store. So we don't have to think about it. We don't need to use our GPS usually, right? And we know how to get to the store. We've created a pathway to that location. So if our pathway is productive, yay us. If our pathway is non-productive, or is destroying us or destroying our family, we need to move the pathway into something that's going to be good. Does that make sense? Is that good? And I love how Tony Robbins, he does it so dramatically. He does it physically, and it's such a empowering process. And I encourage you guys to go listen to him if you have not yet, on how to do this, how to break patterns and how to build new ones. And we all have the power to do this. That is what's so cool. We all have the capability of changing how we think about our situation, about our circumstances. And there's no excuse. There's no excuse. We all have the power to do this, which is so good. And I'm not trying to, again, this podcast is not shame, condemnation, or guilt in any way at all. I'm just saying that I'm here for you guys. We can do this. I got you. I'm in your corner. All right. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I love you guys. I hope that this has led you to better self-awareness of what's going on with your organization, with your systems, with your habits. I'm so excited to hear from you guys. I am praying for you guys constantly. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with somebody who maybe has a habit, and you do it out of love, not shaming. Do it out of love. And if you guys have any questions, comments, I would love to hear from you. All right, take care.